We live?
Oh, wrong one.
Well,
that kind of. Yeah, we are live, but we got a little something. Hang on.
Wrong one.
We had to do that just for you, Kev. And then I hit the button and messed it up, but I used to be able to whistle along.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Well, I can't find us on YouTube.
You got to do the Axl Rose squire.
That being said, thank you for your patience, everybody. Of course, we had wonderful YouTube and Hangouts issues once again. Thank you, dear AU Pack Mule, for your assistance. And yes, we are here again. And I have with me the wonderful and amazing Stacey Smyth. And as always, joining me, my dear friend Cammy O.
Hi, everyone.
And go ahead and say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, offenders and everybody else.
Was that a little too literal? That was too literal, wasn't it?
You know what? That was probably like the simplest one I've ever heard. It was basic and just easy. I like the nice flow of this. It's already going.
Yeah, simple, straight, and to the point. That's me.
Right?
That's
and let's go ahead. Hey, Peter Griffin. Hey, well, I was about to say, hey, Stacey, but yeah, you're here already. Hey, Elamar. How you guys doing? And Bobby, hi. How you doing, hon? And it's just great to see everybody coming out today. And I hope everybody's weekend's going good. And
hey, Dad, from Bridge 4.
Yeah. And man, every time I think of Kevin, I just want to say, Kevin, I think about the little baby squirrels. I'm never going to stop. So, and if you remember the little baby squirrels, and you've been around for a while. Okay, so today we're going to talk about duck and egg. So it turns out, first of all, that my dear friend Stacey has, and hi, another Stacey Myers here. She has never read Dunk and Egg, and Stacey has like pretty much done it all, haven't you? You've read it. Yeah, you've read pretty much everything else. So when I found this out, it was really shocking. And so she's now went through them all. So we're not going to, this is spoilers. You're going to have Dunk and Egg spoilers. Just know that up front. We're not going to go into great deep detail with them today, but we're going to go into just her general opinions and talk about them because, you know, it's always fun to hear new opinions, especially when you have a longtime reader. And we have Cammy, who's never read them. And
I think everybody knows that about Cammy O. Never
yeah. She's our show person. And, you know, Cammy, when I asked her, hey, you want to come on with Dunk and Egg? She said, come on, Cammy.
What I said? I said, hey, here's my first question. Who is Dunk and who is Egg?
Yeah.
And I said, I have a feeling Egg is short for Aegon. Is that correct?
Yeah, and she did have that right. I was actually like really proud of that.
What does she want?
Do you know which one he is? Do you know which one he is?
Which one? Do I know which Aegon he is?
Yeah.
I know.
How many were there? Next question.
Technically? Well, I'll say he was the last one that was king so far.
Wow. So I can't wait to hear about it. So, I mean,
I still don't know what number that was. He was Aegon the 5th. He grew up to be Aegon the 5th.
Unlikely.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, the unlikely. He was the 4th son of a 4th son. So yeah. He's Aemon's little brother.
Maester Aemon.
Yeah, how you hear Aemon talking about Egg whenever he's dying and stuff. And yeah,
that broke my heart. Stop
I know.
it. I think about that every dang time.
You know, and they whine about Shireen. No, it killed me more with Maester Aemon than it did Shireen. And yeah, I'm talking to y'all.
Yeah, that broke my heart. That really did. And then especially finding out that that was his brother, and just yeah, totally broke my heart.
It did. It really did. And see, and he had other brothers, and we're going to talk about them too. So let's talk with the first about.
I'm confused. Are we starting with Aegon or are we starting with Dunk? Because that's my question too.
Well, you got to understand. We're going to start we're going to start with it all. But first, I want you to understand who he is, because I know Stacey went in knowing who Aegon was, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dunk. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Dunk is basically, he was an orphan from Flea Bottom, as far as we know. Very large. At the beginning of the stories, he's around 16 or 17. He doesn't even know his real age. He was a squire to Sir Argon of Pennytree, and at the beginning of our story, he's burying him. And he's not the brightest crayon in the box, but he's got probably a heart of gold. Let's just say that. And
you just said not the brightest. I was reading what Kev put. He put Dunk the Lunk.
No, that is actually a saying. Dunk the Lunk's thick as a castle wall.
Yeah, I'll talk about that too.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, good. I'm glad, Stacey. I love you, Stacey.
What is a lunk?
And there's a lot of stuff in this. There's even a 4-year-old Walter Frey in this, Cammy. There's some good stuff here. These are short ones. You could do these.
Okay.
You could. I'm telling you. I give you the Dunk and Egg challenge, Cammy.
Start with Dunk and Egg.
They're not even in the show. It's separate. It's long before.
It is kind of long before.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The only person that is anywhere in Dunk and Egg that's associated with the show would be Bloodraven. And that's because he's like a gazillion years old and lives in a tree in the show still.
Maester
Aemon, but
is that what you said? He lives in a tree?
Yeah. And
he's not really referenced.
Right. Well, no, we do see him in the 3rd book. But
yeah.
And Maester Aemon we hear referenced, but we haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
So let's start with who is Egg.
Okay. And wait, you said Egg on the 5th in this particular book?
Mm-hmm. That's yes. Well, no, not yet. He's right now. He's about an 8-year-old boy at the beginning of the first story, which the first story is called The Hedge Knight.
Okay. I got that on audio.
You have
it's on YouTube if you want to listen to it.
It is.
You can listen to it on there.
Okay.
It is.
Yep. And they're really short too, Cammy. I think it's all together, all 3 books is like 10 hours of listening. That's it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We listened to them on car trips. No joke, Cammy. Cole, my 11-year-old son, wanted to come out here and give his 2 cents about Dunk and Egg.
Really?
Yeah. He wanted to come out here. Cole was like, oh, you're doing Dunk and Egg? I want to come and say my opinions and my thoughts on it. And I was like, you know what, buddy, I'll let you come and we'll talk about Dunk and Egg sometime.
You really should.
I'm gonna have him on here, but not today. But they love it. We listen to it in the car, no joke.
And I can't wait. I'm kidding.
Right? And Emma wants to tell me. Emma wants to come on. She don't tell me, but she wants to come on to tell everybody who she thinks is going to die. So I was like, okay, all right. And
I love the kids.
Yeah, my kids are awesome.
Awesomely smart.
They really are. I I'm lucky. I got really cool kids. And I know everybody thinks their kids are awesome, but yeah, no, I got awesome
Her
kids.
kids are awesome. So smart kids.
And then I just found out that we have a con coming here actually.
In Florida?
Yeah, like about I think it's a week or two after, it's 2 weeks after the premiere. And what? The original Night King's going to be there. Sirio's going to be there. Pip's going to be there. And Rast is going to be there. And I'm going, this could be interesting. How can we make this happen? And then I noticed that they're going to have the Power Rangers there and some other stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's awesome to have kids, ain't it? So I'm like, this can happen. And then it's like, it's free for kids under 10 too. So that's one of them in the door already. And it's pretty cool because it's like all weekend for $40. That ain't bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.
You lost me at Power Rangers. Sorry.
I don't care about the Power Rangers. I hate the Power Rangers. I want to throw stuff at them. I want to turn the other way, but that will sell my kids. My kids will be like, "What? The Power Rangers are going to be there?"
Yeah,
Let's go.
A little too old
now, if I tell Cole, you know, that's the one that about Rast, that's the one that, you know, Ghost tried to eat and that was mean to Jon Snow's friend Sam, then he'll like probably kick him or something like that. So it could be kind of funny, but no, I wouldn't do anything like that. It'd be, I could see Cole, and Cole's kind of a big little dude too. So no, don't throw the squirrels in the washer, Elmar. Gotta be nice to the little squirrels.
I still have
squirrels.
Kev had a family of squirrels on his balcony. I still have that video.
Oh yeah, that was like the coolest. Hello, Lady Olena, my lady. How are you today? You know what? Mine like Pokemon too, and Ninja Turtles, and they do all the comics. They do it all, and this is the way I look at it. If you want to watch it, go watch it in there where I got to see it. I'm done with it. Just on it. That's why they have their own TVs. And Pokemon, I'm addicted to Pokemon Go. So it's like, I'll play with them, but I don't want to watch the TV shows. And the reason why is because I started late having my kids, and all my friends had already had their kids. So I watched it all like a decade earlier with all their little children running around. By the time mine came around, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Please, no. Yeah.
Hey, and I just started out.
Y'all like it? You want to watch it? Go ahead. I can tell you some that are fun. For you, I recommend Bubble Guppies. That's a fun one. I love Bubble Guppies.
Watching those on my own. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? I know. There's some of them.
Playhouse and what other crap? Like there's like these little Fancy Nancy.
Fancy Nancy.
Oh, Fancy Nancy. What are they? Hold on.
Stacey's a new mom, by the way, for those of you who do not know.
Something Butterbeans Cafe or something like these little fairies that have this bakery. It's actually kind of cool because they make it look like oh gosh, like a reality show almost, because they sit there and they talk to the camera and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Marie, we used to have little pet turtles that we named after them. Yeah, after the Ninja Turtles.
Paw Patrol and
Paw Patrol they do now too.
Oh my gosh! Like I was watching
Bubba Guppies. Yep. See, I know.
Yeah, late at night.
I sent a turtle video to a lot of people today. Did you two get it?
Nani was what my mom wanted to be called for her grandmother name, which is one of the Bubble Guppies, right? But somehow it turned into Heine. So that thanks to my son. So
Carrie,
now that's her grandma name is Heine. Like,
oh my gosh, Carrie, I feel for you. Barney? Oh hell no.
Oh no, I don't do Barney.
No,
Barney was forbidden in my house.
Thank goodness I was way past that age because I mean, it tried so hard to be like, you know, Sesame Street, but like a crappy version of it.
Okay, so I went to you better. I'm going to say this real quick,
Anyway.
and then we're going to get back to Dunk and Egg.
Yeah,
I promise. But
Okay.
a real quick story about Barney. I went with my mother-in-law, who was at the time in her 60s, and my sister-in-law's mother, who was in her 40s, mid-40s or so at the time. And we went to Universal Studios. Had a lot of fun with them, by the way. I was early 20s at the time. And my mother-in-law was obsessed with Barney. And I hate Barney. I really hate Barney. I really do. And she made me go to the show. They had a live show. And knocking over little children. And it was just madness because they were throwing streamers in the airs and little poppers and balloons and everything. And she's like trying to get me. And I just stood there just dazed, like, what is going on? And she's like pushing in front of little kids to get up there to get hugs with Barney and everything. It was really disturbing and traumatizing to. It really was. It really was.
Wow.
But it was the funniest thing.
That purple dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, y'all. Can we say that on here?
So traumatic.
Oh, no, it's okay. We're going to say cuss words on my channel.
Oh, God, I'll try.
So, we're going to talk about, I guess, okay, so Dunk was an orphan from Flea Bottom that was taken in by Sir Arlen Pennytree of Pennytree, blah. And who was a hedge knight. And a hedge knight basically, Cammy, is a knight that's not like your typical shiny armor in service of like the Lannisters all the time. They kind of go where they want and work for who they want and roam about, right?
A hedge knight.
Yeah, they're not much better than sellswords, except they kind of have the knight's code of honor.
There's a reason that they're called hedge knights is because they had a tendency to sleep in the hedges because they didn't really have a place to sleep. So,
okay,
right, yeah, that's why they got that name.
Are they kind of like those? What was the name of the tribesmen that Tyrion kind of hooked up with in season 1? Are they kind of like them?
The mountain clan?
No. They're just regular knights. They just are basically like the poor versions of the knights. They don't have the fancy pavilions. Very few of them do.
They're not like, attached to a single house.
Right.
Yeah,
they're like sellswords.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of.
Who do they follow? Like whoever
they want. They go where they want to because they'll be in service of who, like, say two houses, like let's say the Blackwoods and the Brackens, who tend to squabble a lot, are having a little war with each other. They may go and get hired on by the Brackens, for example, and work in for them for a while for shelter and
like you said, they're
room and board, basically, whatever, right?
Okay.
Until whatever is settled between them, and then they'll move on, or until they just get tired of it, and then they'll move on to somewhere else, and then they'll go to Winterfell or wherever. They may go and do tourneys, and it's just they live basically by their own code and not in the service of any one particular family.
Okay, let me stop you for a second. What do Dunk and Egg have to do with these hedge knights?
Because Dunk is a hedge knight.
Dunk is a hedge knight, okay, but Egg is not?
Egg is his squire.
Egg becomes his squire. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. At the beginning, now.
Who's Dunk short for? That's his name, Dunk?
Yes. Now,
Duncan the Tall.
Well, he makes his name Duncan because he doesn't
know his full name.
Right. He was just always called Dunk by the old man, as he refers to.
I caught on.
Yeah, he did. And so he starts calling himself Duncan the Tall because he thinks that it sounds more
he's Duncan the Tall. Now I have heard of him. Duncan the Tall.
Lordly or whatever. Like not lordly, but like it sounds better than just Dunk, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because he's looked down on a lot already because he doesn't have the proper armor and stuff. He's like wearing just like wool and tweed with a little rope belt. And, you know, his armor at first, because it starts off in the books, he's burying Sir Arlen under a tree, right?
Uh-huh.
And he had died all of a sudden, like he caught a chill on the way to this tourney. So it's a tourney at Ashford. And Dunk carries on and goes to this tourney at Ashford. Along the way, he stops at an inn and he sees his boy in the stables and who had just, you know, got done swimming and all. And he thinks it's a stable boy and he's like, here, you know, take care of the horses. And he's always really good to the horses. I really like that.
Can I discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I want to hear everything you'd like to say about it.
So that to me was really, really funny because when you go into the story knowing that Egg is Aegon the Fifth and a future king, and then you hear the way that Dunk is talking to him, like, you know, he's like, this is just some little scrawny little kid that's hanging out, you know, make yourself useful and, you know, get my stuff together, you know, here's my horse, here's my stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he puts him to work. And I was cracking up when I came across that because I was like, if he knew who he was, he wouldn't be talking to him like that, you know?
And so he's always going to cloud him in the ear, too. He's like, yeah, I ought to just cloud you in the ear.
Yeah. Cammy, you're really going to enjoy this if you listen to it or read it. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna. There's a reason I'm waiting to read all this. I'm waiting until the show is over because, in my opinion, if you book readers, it would drive me crazy with all the character assassinations and the plot twists and
you don't have
there's nothing like that here. It's a straightforward story.
Yeah.
Ends to read the books.
These are their own stories, separate and apart, and that's what makes them so great. You don't have to worry about the show at all with these. You can read them tomorrow and or listen to them tomorrow. The audio is only about 3 hours.
Okay, well, I'm definitely
Dunkin' Egg Challenge, Cammy. Dunkin' Egg Challenge.
I've been inspired.
I'm gonna. Yep. I'll tell you what too. I'm gonna think of something. I know you. I know the things you like and stuff like that. I'm gonna get you. Seriously.
You don't know me.
Go here, girl. You know I know you. You know I know you. Dunkin' Egg Challenge.
Cammy O.
I'll give you. Let's see. What is it? What is it? The 23rd today. There's 3 of them.
Tomorrow,
you listening to them would take not even. Yeah, I know, right?
Tomorrow,
and her listening to her.
Tomorrow will be at 3 weeks. Woo-hoo.
You can listen to all 3 of them in one day, technically.
Yeah.
But I ain't even going to make you do that. I'm going to give you 1 month from today, on April 23rd. I want you to have listened to them. Listen to the audio sets I won over a year ago from Kyle. No, not all the books. Not all the books. The 3 Dunkin' Egg novellas. Just the 3 Dunkin' Eggs. Okay. Really short. Those are the first ones. Short. Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it, Cammy.
Yeah.
Oh no, challenge.
My kids can do it. You can do it, Cammy. Okay.
We're gonna hold you to
it. For me to sit and listen for even 30 minutes, and y'all are talking about me listening to something for 10 hours. Okay.
Nope.
And you
want to
okay. Did I mention
a month? I only had a week.
Well, okay. I am looking forward to it, though. I really am. I mean, I've been hearing about Dunkin' Egg for, 3 years now, you know?
Lady Olena says, why do they say that Hodor has giant's blood? You know what? I got a lot of theory about with what I like to call Dunk's seed everywhere. And I think, and I'll let you say too after that, okay? I think that he is one of the seed. But here's the thing. I think that there's a lot of giants that have been living south of the wall a long time. And we hear about them in Fire and Blood, actually, if you actually when you're reading, it's like clues all throughout there. And even when I in the actual series too, just some of the things they say, it's like there's been giants around us this whole time. But I think Hodor is one of Dunk's seeds. And I also think that Brienne, and I think that the Hound and the Mountain too. So that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Yeah, well.
Now Stacey, go ahead.
My best guess is because in the second and third story, they kind of run together for me right now. They talked about going north to Winterfell, Dunk and Egg did, and they wanted to go up to the wall. So to me, that seems like a perfect place for him to have met up with whoever he was going to be mating with, for old Nan to be like his great-great-grandmother. So old Nan would have been there at that time too. Just looking back at the Stark lineage and kind of putting pieces together to where old Nan, where she was and when. I think she was up at Winterfell at about the time that Dunk, if he and Egg ended up there, which I think that they did, Hodor would have been a product of that.
Wow.
You know who I think about, or who I have thought about with old Nan when I first read the Dunk and Egg ones the very first time, and it kind of stuck with me for a while. And I don't know so much anymore, but this was like a long time ago. And it was from the second book. And it was just the way that she sat there and she played with her braid, And then he insisted on keeping it. And that's what he chose as his reward. And
so, Dunk. Okay. So in that one, wasn't he like 18, 19 years old or something like that, right?
By then, about that.
When he comes across her. And it's funny because when she, after their whole situation, right, about the lake or whatever, not the lake, the moat or whatever that's in front of her property where they have yeah. So later on, she goes to him and she's flirting with him. It's like so obvious that she is totally flirting with him, and he is oblivious to this because he's a young kid. And here's this cougar, that's kind of like, hey, thank you for your help. How should I repay you? And, it's not clicking in his head that this chick is coming on to him. And,
really?
You can tell that it's kind of like a tension building there where he's kind of like, wait a second. And it hits him a little bit later. And then this is the girl that he kisses, right? This is the girl that he kisses, and then he gets like some of her hair.
He has what I consider Homer Simpson moments where it's like, don't, and that's the only way to describe it.
Yeah.
That's the whole Dunk is
Dunk the lunk.
Against the castle wall. And he catches himself all the time, and he's like, oh man.
Yeah.
So so he kind of like that patch face dude.
No. Okay, let me stop you right now. Let me clarify who Dunk is going to be. Aegon is a future king. He will be Aegon the Fifth. Okay,
I heard that.
Right, he's the one at Summerhall. That's which Aegon that is.
Where they
Dunk is the one who ends up being Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Not the City Watch, of the Kingsguard.
Right.
And it's foreshadowed a lot in the books too. And he actually saved Rhaella and Aerys, and in turn that's when Rhaegar was born. Yeah, Rhaegar was born. So it was because Dunk saved their lives at the tragedy of Summerhall.
Yeah. So if it's familiar, that's why, Cammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that putting a little more perspective on who Dunk is?
Just later on, though.
Okay. So basically, this is the start of who he is, but there's all the story in between to what happens at Summer Hall that we don't know nothing about, that eventually maybe one day we'll get all of it. Which is all still pre-existing the current books. Every now and then I try to catch myself, make sure I'm not too loud. I'm like, move my headphones. I'm like, my mom's napping.
So Dunk is kind of funny, right? Because
he sounds it.
Just kind of like an overall thing that I noticed between all three books. Yeah, you talked about how he was from Flea Bottom, and we know that Davos was also from Flea Bottom and Gendry, right? And they're all kind of like rough around the edges, and you know they're not very formal people, and they're pretty humble in the way that they think, the way that they speak to people. And Dunk kind of he kind of surprised me a little bit in the first book when he got into the fight with I think it was Arian, right? Bright Flame.
Yep.
Because he was breaking this puppeteer's fingers, right? He got mad because this puppeteer had this show where, you know, a knight was killing a dragon, and Arian thought that he was a dragon. He was like, you know, I take offense to this because I am a dragon, and you know, dragons aren't supposed to be killed, blah 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 blah. So he gets this woman, gets her like in an arm bar or whatever, and he starts, you know, cracking her fingers and breaking them. And Dunk is like, oh hell no, I'm not letting that happen. So he goes and instead of, you know, being a knight and you know pulling his sword and everything, he goes and he starts going all Flea Bottom on him, starts beating him up in the streets.
It reminds me of Ron.
Yeah, you know, he becomes like a street fighter, right? He becomes like a street fighter in that moment. And I think that's where, you know, he's kind of like a half naive character and half street smart. He just hasn't figured out how to put those things together in his mind to make it work to his advantage.
It's like he's so brave and that he's dumb about it. You know, he goes in blind like heroes tend to do. I'm just saying, you know. I want to say something too really quick.
He sounds like he's got a good heart. Am I right?
Really does, yes. Yeah. And he's very good looking. Okay, like he's always
picked up on it, y'all. Picked up on something.
And he's described as very good looking. He's like 6'7", and this is when he's like 16 or 17. So he's really big, and he's always getting a lot of attention, but he doesn't give any to anyone. But the puppeteer that she's talking about is a Dornish girl named Pencil Too Tall. And he's like, you're not too tall at all. You're just right. And he's thinking, oh, did I say that out loud? But she's too just right for her, for me. Yeah.
Y'all I'm ready to listen to this audiobook now. Y'all just
he ended up having a thing for her, right? Just off of that whole thing.
The horse walks right past. He doesn't have any interest in any of them. He's like, psh. But he actually like he throws a penny at her, and then he has her paint his shield because he needs his own coat of arms. Yeah. So he chooses, because he sleeps out under the stars. He chooses, and he sees a falling star the first night he's there. When Egg, because we kind of skipped over that, Egg. Actually, he ran into on the way to the tourney at Ashford. Right. And when he mistook him for the stable boy, he tried to come along with him. And he met his brother Darren, the drunk, who also had a lot of prophetic dreams, which was why he was a drunk. And he said he freaked out when he seen Dunk and actually kind of too. He said, I dreamt of you. Get away from me. Like he was scared. And we actually see why later. And he actually loses Egg because Egg ends up hitching a ride and follows Dunk because Dunk won't take him. But he feels bad for Dunk or for Egg because he knows he's from King's Landing and he sees a lot of himself in the boy, So he's like, I wish I could take him. And he realizes that he don't have a mother and that's not his mother. He's like, my mother's dead, And then Egg shows up anyways and he does such a good job. He's like, all right, you can stay in Squire for me. So he's camped out under this giant tree and sees a shooting star. And that's what he has Tansel paint on his shield. And he picks up the shield that morning. And then it's like later that evening.
There's an oak tree.
Right, under the oak tree, yep. And the strong oak tree, yes.
But you know why? You know why the oak? It goes back to Garth Greenhand, John the Oak, where Garth mated with a giantess and had John the Oak.
This is why I like doing shit with Stacey. I just want y'all to know that. And yeah.
That's right.
Right?
Linking them together.
I know. See, that's
Give me some Maester links.
Right. You should get some for real too. Man, you know what? I wish they had the Maester links out. If there's someone out there that makes stuff like that, you should do it because, like, I know a lot of us would probably pay for them. I want glass candles too. I keep trying to think of a way to make some that would look cool. That's just a thing. I'm sorry. Anyways, so and then later on, after he gets his shield, is when that happens, and her hand gets broken, and then she packs up and leaves. But he stays fond of her and always kind of looking for her through all the books. Like it's like every woman he compares to her. He compares Brian Weber to her. Mm-hmm. Everyone. I don't think I kind of think that either he's going to end up. I do think he's going to end up running into her again. I kind of think he's going to end up with one of Aegon's sisters. Honestly, I think that's going to end up being how his bloodline goes with.
But he went down to Dorne. They went down to Dorne for a while.
The second book starts off in Dorne, and I think that's what made me think they went looking for her. Actually, in between,
I think so too. Yeah, because there was unfinished business there. He really he thought of her quite a bit,
and he still does. He still does later books too, and that's why I think they're bound to run into each other again. I don't think they're done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean. I mean, he's young, and it's look at him. Come on, and how just he is. I think don't see it everywhere, but I think she's just his standard now. I think that's just the one he's not going to get over.
The one that got away.
The first love. Yeah, the one that got away sort of thing. And I think by the time, like, my predictions for later books would be that when he does find her, she'll be married to someone else or something to where he can't have her. Or he'll be a King's Guard by then or something. It'll be something to prevent them because, I don't know.
Cool. I think so too.
Just like awesome now.
Believe it or not.
So let's bring up now. He goes to the Tourney of Astrid. He's got his Egg as a squire now, and the Tourney of Astrid is probably one of the coolest things that happens in any of the books, and we see it actually reflected in Elaine chapters and what's to come in the Winds of Winter. We know it's going to be a reflection of it. A lot of parallels there.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what do you think about, first of all, what do you think about the whole reveals of the Targaryens that were at Ashford?
There was a lot of them. There were a lot of Targaryen princes, is what I've noticed. And all of them were noted as princelings, the Targaryen princelings. And the funny thing about it is, like, you would think that a princeling is, just kind of like Egg's age, you little kids, right? But these were like, older teenager going into adult age Targaryen princes that were all just kind of sitting around, you know, I think just with nothing better to do than hang out at the tournament and just kind of, you know, make their name kind of, you know, known and stuff like that. They just kind of threw it around and gathered attention, really. There was just, it was like a mob. It was a mob of Targaryen princes. Okay. And Arian was the one that really kind of stood out to me at first, because just the description of him being a bright flame, but his armor, his helm, everything were much brighter in their color than everyone else's. They really made him stand out in this story. But he also was like a crazy guy.
Yeah,
you know?
and you realize that's the Aryan Bright Flame, the one that later on gets drunk and drinks wildfire and dies.
Yeah,
right?
because
oh, hey.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is crazy.
I wasn't surprised. I knew that was his fate eventually, but I didn't realize that, you know, that he
makes you glad after you see him. Chaos. It's like, what you're like, good, I'm glad.
Yeah, he deserved it, right? He deserved it for what he pulled at this tournament, because he basically did something that was, you know, unbecoming of a knight. Is he kind of pulled a Clegane, right? He aimed for the horse.
Yeah.
instead of the person. And people saw it and they're like, wait a second, you know, this is a Targaryen prince. And he's, you know, oh my gosh, he's doing something bad here. He's cheating. Right. And Humphreys, Harding, right?
Yeah.
He falls off of, he kind of just falls off the horse, and the horse falls on him and basically breaks his leg up. And he was basically like the guy that was supposed to win. And Arian cheated in order to prevent that. So, so a lot of people were really mad at Arian, and, you know, they kind of like, you know, to each other.
The horse.
They tried not to make it obvious that that was their opinion of him, though, because he was a prince.
Huh.
Well, yeah, nobody really liked him. And even the Kingsguard around him, they were kind of like, yeah, we know he's a dick, but, you know, it's our job.
Yeah.
And
but the
other brother, Valor, he just was kind of like, he didn't care. He's like, I'm just here because they made me come.
So you see a whole bunch of different sides of these Targaryen personalities in seeing so many princes in one place at one time too, because they ranged in ages, and they ranged in, you know, where they were in line for the throne, right? So you had the one guy, Baelor, right?
Baelor, yeah. Baelor Breakspear.
Yeah.
He was the heir apparent now.
Like, yeah, so he was basically like the top of the line. He was pretty much like next. And he was
King. This is during the time, Cammy, during King Darren the Good's reign.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of the Blackfire rebellions.
Oh.
He was really like, you know, level-headed and diplomatic by way of comparison to Arian, who was not diplomatic, and he just did what he wanted, and he didn't care, and he just wanted to, you know, to just win for whatever reason, because he was the dragon, you know. And then we had Darren the drunk, and he just he was kind of funny to me, because he basically he was self-deprecating for the most part. He was very unprincely, if that's even a word.
He was just like, you know what, just knock me in the dirt, and
but that was later though. That was later during. So basically,
he lied at first. He lied and said that Dunk kidnapped Egg because he didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because he lost his brother.
So Arian, after he wins because he cheated, that's when he goes and basically terrorizes the puppeteer, and Dunk decides, I'm not going to take this. We already saw him cheat, and he's messing with my girl now because I like her and she's tall like me, kind of thing. So he gets in, starts pounding him and everything, and then Dunk basically gets charged for beating up Arian for doing all of that stuff. And then Arian decides later, and I'm gonna skip all the back and forth banter between all the princes and all that crap. Arian decided he wanted a trial by 7, and that's the first time that we hear the trial by 7. I know that I had heard of that before, where it's kind of like a trial by combat, where where it's 1-on-1, but in this case it's 7 against 7, and then the gods basically favor the winner, basically saying that the winner of this trial is innocent. There no charges against them, all kinds of stuff. And then Dunk asks, well, wait a second, I don't know anybody, because again, he's a teenager and he just kind of, made his way to this tournament not knowing anyone except his squire.
Well, he had to go and try and get someone to vouch for him to even get into the tourney.
Exactly.
And he couldn't even like that. It was actually Baylor that he got to vouch for him.
Get into that. I'm getting to that.
Yeah, go ahead then, girl. Okay. Go ahead. I love it.
So I know, because I remember more than I thought I did, right? So,
I know. Great.
So he says, well, how am I going to get 6 other people? I don't know anybody. I basically know my squire, and my squire is this little kid. And it was kind of at this point that he finds out that his squire is also a prince.
Oh, and by the way, too, the reason
big reveal
that there was a trial by 7 chosen instead of one-on-one combat is because Arian was a little bitch, and he even got called out by his uncle about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they kind of messed with him about that. They're like, "What, you can't take him on by yourself? You're a prince and a dragon. What the hell?" And so yeah, that was one of my favorite parts, just because I thought it was funny.
Yeah, he talked a big game, and he tried to terrorize people just because he had the name behind him. Otherwise, he was just a big bitch for the most part. So whatever.
And by all rights, Dunk should have died for what he did. So he was lucky that he got to choose a trial.
So Dunk was worried, and they kind of held him captive until it was time for his trial, and then he set a dash to find people that would vouch for him, and he found in all of that the townspeople and the common folk and everyone were on his side, because they knew that he was holding to what a knight should be. Okay, even though he wasn't technically like a regular knight or anything like that, they thought that he was honorable in his intentions, and that they were on his side. But the problem was that none of them were going to be able to fight for him or fight with him against Arian and his 6 chosen. So he's just kind of worried about, okay, who's going to do this? And then suddenly, people who were in the tournament or at the tournament who saw everything that transpired were like, hey, we know what happened, and we're on your side. We're going to join you. Except for the Fossaway guy, how they split into the red and green apples. That was a kind of cool story where
welcome, Carrie. Go ahead, Stacey.
Where there were 2 Fossaways, and one acted like he was going to be on Dunk's side, and then he was like, no, I'm going to be on Aeryn's side, and he pissed off his relative. So the red apple Fossaway went to the Targaryen side, and then the green apple guy, he became
a green apple. That's when he first. That's how the green apples became green apple Fossaways. That's when they first broke away. And he wasn't a knight
either, so he had to be knighted before the trial started. So someone had to knight him real quick.
And the interesting thing about them too,
he was a cousin.
Yeah, they were cousins. And the interesting thing about them too is when they first met, when Dunk first met them, they were trying to, his cousin, who was kind of the red apple Fossaway, he was kind of, you know, he was kind of a shit too. And he was trying to hustle guys to see how they, you know, how well they fought and kind of fill them out. So he knew who to go up against in the list. And to kind of wear him down too and beat him up a little before, you know. And Dunk wasn't trying to play that. He had better things to do anyways. He was like, yeah, whatever. And that's what kind of made the green apple, I'm going to keep it simple, become more of his friend anyways. You know, he was the good guy. So right off the bat, you like the green apples better, you know. But that was the birth of a house right there, is over the tourney of Ashford.
About that, the cool thing about that is, like, we'd heard about the Fossaways, and we heard that there were red and green, you know, kind of like offshoots of the family, but we didn't know why. And this tournament is why it happened.
Yep.
So that was kind of a neat thing. He didn't want to be associated with his cousin anymore, and he was like, you know, I'll get knighted real quick and I'll fight with you. And then at the end, when he was stuck and he didn't have enough people, and he was kind of, you know, going to everybody, is there anyone who will join this cause? And, you know, he's really, really frustrated. And finally, Baelor Targaryen joined his side, which was really cool because, again, he was basically the crown prince. And, you know, that kind of didn't end well for him. And wasn't it the other Targaryen guy that actually ended up killing him? I can't remember his name.
Okay, they ended up killing who?
He struck him in the head, and then, like, they describe it really gruesomely, like there's brains in the back of his head. No,
that was how he died. You're talking about Baelor. Now, Dunk got banged up pretty good. Okay. Now that's the question: who did that to him? All right, let me dance around this a little bit here. Okay, during the trial now. All right, now Darren had no choice but to fight on the side because his father made him fight on the side with his brother. Okay, but they came and told him, you know, this is who's going to be on this side. This is who's going to be on that side. You know. And we had, like, the Laughing Storm was there, who was famous, and which that was Baratheon.
Yeah.
Hi, Moni.
I'm trying to remember all my names now. I'm trying to look. Hey, Moni. Shaka Khan. Lionel Baratheon. There we go.
Yeah.
We had Manfred Dondarrion there. We had Stefan Fossaway. That was the one Fossaway. That was the red one. He was the shithead one. And we also had a Hightower there too. Albert Hightower.
Yeah. See, the way that the story kind of played out, and it seemed like one of the Targaryens, because there was another Targaryen.
Yeah, no. It is. No, and that's what I'm about to address. I was just trying to look something up. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I was trying to look up the other Fossaway's name real quick because it was driving me crazy, and I want to say it's Raymond or something like that. Like Sir Raymond Fossaway or something. And someone in chat helped me because I bet that's close. Yeah. Okay, so Boo Boo Kitty. Oh, you're making me want to watch Laverne and Shirley. And then I get sad because Penny Marshall died. Okay, anyways. So now with the turning of Ashford, let's talk about that really quick because this is really important about how stuff went down. Now, Maekar, which was Aegon's father, fought alongside with the Red Fossaway and Darren, who went down in the dirt just like he said he was. Like
that's the other one, Maekar.
Yep, Maekar was Baelor the Breakspear's brother. Okay, he was the fourth in line. Okay,
yeah,
and he is Aemon, Aerion, and Valor, and Aemon, Aegon, Valor, and Aerion's father.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I said that all right. Anyways, and yeah, and he kind of got mad because Baelor fought on the side of Dunk instead. Yeah. Now they also had Kingsguard on their side too, which was kind of messed up. The only person that was not a Kingsguard,
total unfair fight.
Right, that was not a Kingsguard or one of the princelings, so to speak, was that Red Fossaway. And then
here was the other thing that kind of made it unfair, though, Ree, is that one of the rules of this whole trial by 7 that Darren brought attention to was that, you know, he wasn't worried too much because, you know, nobody was supposed to basically hit a Targaryen in there.
Right, right.
So they could only really fight against each other, which is why I think that Baelor's you know, family member would have been the one to take him out and kill him.
Well, no, because Maekar did not want to take him out. He was like torn apart for years and years and years over it because he thought that he did. Now there's a big, huge theory out there that it was actually Lionel Baratheon and the Laughing Storm. And if you pay attention and go over it and read it again, it is highly plausible that he did. And I can see why Maekar was sulking about it and wondering about it for so many years. Because, and I do, I kind of lean more towards, like, I think it was a setup. I do. I think it was, I do. I think it was made to take out Baelor at the same time.
That's interesting because they had a lot. So with him out of the way,
Justin,
as next in line, then, you know, anyone else who followed him had a lot to gain. So it would almost seem like, you know, another Targaryen taking him out would make sense, you know.
But at the time, Darren was still alive.
So it is what it is.
Hi, Justin.
Well, that would be a good cover up because it would pin it on Maekar, right? Mm-hmm. But at the time, Darren was still alive, so he was still king.
Wow.
So, but there's a lot we can learn from that tourney, though, by the different houses that were represented in it too. Because if you look at the different houses that are represented in it, it is like mirror images almost. The only thing we're missing is the Targaryen house. When we look at what's going on in the Vale as far as the Lane chapters, with the tourney coming up for Sweet Robin's Winged Knights. Are you caught up with that at all?
Why do they call him Sweet Robin? I've always wondered that. They didn't call him Sweet Robin in the show. I know you book readers refer to him as Sweet Robin. Why is he called Sweet Robin? That kid is not sweet. He's creepy. In the show, anyway.
Oh, he is a sweet little heart.
I don't see him as Sweet Robin in the show. Maybe in the books, but not.
I love him. I think he's a trip. They didn't do him justice.
I guess
in the show either. He's like he is a weird little kid, but you know what? And as much as
But
I
he
talk
had a
about
weird
kids,
mom too.
yeah, no,
I
his
mean, Liza
mom was.
was like batshit
Weird's
crazy.
an understatement to put about Liza.
I'll tell you what, yeah, he did better once he got rid of her. I'm like, as much as I complain about creepy ass little kids, I love me some Sweet Robin, and I want him to come back and like just whoop somebody's ass in some way. I want him to make stuff fly, or somebody fly,
He did better.
or I want him to shoot some arrows, or
You
make
said he did better once he got rid of her. So in the books, did she get thrown through the moon door as well?
yeah.
Okay.
And he's got a thing for Sansa. He loves him some Sansa. And right now he's got some jealousy going, and Littlefinger's like playing with his mind in the books. And he knows he's got a thing for Sansa, and he likes to exploit that a lot. And like, yeah, it's just a whole. I told you, Cammy, me and you gonna talk about the veil soon. That's what the next thing. Well, the second thing where me and you will be doing coming up, because we got something else on the slide we're doing.
Peter Griffin said, "Sweet Robin coming to season 8 looking like Thor."
Right. Oh my God, that would be funny. Come in with Stormbringer,
Peter,
and his,
but okay.
and his gear falcon just flying above him. But make the bad men fly. Oh.
So basically, how the trial by 7 ends is that Dunk again gets Arian to give. You know, he surrenders and says, okay. You know, basically bitching out. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Well, Dunk like loses consciousness. He kind of thinks he's dead for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So he comes to, and he's there in the Maester's quarters or whatever, and he's with Baylor, and so he's got the king or prince apparent. Let me say that his own Maester and all tending to him, and you know his few friends that he has made there. You know, let's see, which book was this? I'm trying to think who I was there in this one. Who did he meet in that one? No, Kyle the Cat was later. Stacey, do you remember who he met? Who was his friend in this book?
I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh, Ree doesn't remember something from the books. Oh my God.
Unless she's just testing me, because I really like there's certain things where I kind of like remember a lot of detail and then some detail and then
I don't listen to all the books, and I listen to the one most.
You both of y'all, how long ago did you read this book?
I just had last week.
Oh,
I had a week, Cammy.
Oh my God. You had a week. Oh, wait a minute. You had a week to read it. I thought you read these like I thought you already
read. That's why
we're
doing this stream, is because this is my first time going through
that.
I had a false start. I started reading them like back when we were given the ebook versions of them. I started reading Hedge Knight, but I didn't get very far, and I got disrupted, and things happened, and then we started talking about other things, and Rhea was like, "Stacey, just read them, okay?" She's like, "Read them in a week, and then we'll do a stream on it."
Oh man! Well, I feel like a fool, Well, read it and tell me until like an hour ago. Hey, we're streaming. Okay, cool.
I don't. It's not coming to me. It's not coming to me right now.
Well, hey, you're doing great, Stacey. If you only had a week and you've got Eden, golly, hats off to you, madam, milady.
So after the
as far as you, Ree, how long ago have you read Dunk and Egg? It's probably been a while.
Ree listens to
like all the books, y'all. Ree has read all the books all the GRRM Game of Thrones books Ree has read.
She's listened to it fairly frequently because it's a family favorite. So
1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay. So okay.
So I'm trying to test my memory here. I'm trying to remember who it was, and I know he came to. See, Dunk has this habit of getting knocked out, right? Because that happened in the 3rd book also, and he wakes up and this Septon is kind of working on him, and he asks how long he'd been out.
Let me stop
it was
right there.
It was like a few hours.
Let me stop you right there. 6'7" Dunk has a habit of getting knocked down.
He gets knocked out, not just down, but knocked out. Like he goes and he blacks out from the impact because he enters these tournaments and he gets into these fights. Poor guy is like.
I mean, I'd hate to say his contenders must be. I mean, if he's 6'7", my God, what's he going up against? One.
He's bigger. He's bigger than all the other guys, but the thing is, he doesn't have quite the experience in the tournaments that all these other figures do.
Okay. Well, okay.
So what he does is like he gets on the horse and he's jousting and everything. He's fine when he's off the horse because he can rely on his brute strength to kind of carry him through. But if you put him on the horse and he's just kind of not doing as well, so it kind of benefits him to be knocked off. It's just that when he gets knocked off, he kind of gets knocked out too.
Okay.
Yeah, Connie, concussions. It's total concussionville with him. Poor guy. I mean, he's probably taken more than NFL quarterback,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But we were talking about how Dunk gets knocked out a lot.
Yeah, he really does.
I'm confused on how this 6
For
foot
such a big guy.
knocked out.
But what they say, right? What they say is the bigger you are, the harder you fall too. And I'm sure that's taken a toll on his head too.
Yeah.
Well,
because it sounds like all his contenders are aiming for his head. Poor guy.
Well, yeah, right. That kind of we hear that.
Well, that's what happens in the 3rd book. He's in a tournament again. And
hang on before you get there, because let's talk really quick. I don't know if you already did or not, but about when he comes to and Bayor actually removes his helmet, and that's when
his brains. I talked about that.
Okay, yep.
His brains start falling out, and he dies.
But that was why Darren was so scared of him in the tavern when he first met, because he said, "I saw you in a dream, and a dragon fell, a great big dragon, or a great black dragon." Fell and died on you.
Yeah, that was his dream,
and it happened.
Dragon,
right? And it was prophetic of Baylor, the break spirit, dying. That was the great winged dragon that he seen dying, and he was supposed to be the next king, and he would have been a great king. Is the sad part about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people resented Dunk after that because they're like, he died for a hedge knight, basically.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of bitterness toward him.
But there was a lot of honor in him taking Dunk's side too, because he did do the right and just thing. The right person was basically innocent of these charges.
Right. So by him supporting him and them actually winning and going the way it did.
But this kind of goes into our theories for next time. So we got to stop. We got to stop with the whole Dunk thing.
But okay, so let's go really fast. Let's go really super fast through the 2nd book, but neither of us are really too impressed with it. It's not really our favorite. So let's do this short version. So
they're coming back from Dorne.
Yeah, they're coming back from Dorne. They're actually in the Westerlands right now. And they get hired by this guy in this keep. And it's over a dispute because the water got dammed for the river. And there's also another hedge knight that's been working there too for this guy who's kind of just, he's a dick too. I don't really like him. And this book is called The Sworn Sword, by the way. And during this time, this is when the spring sickness is going around. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but a lot of people died, including King Darren died of it. It was Sir Bennis of Brownshield was the jerk's name. But it's Sir.
Huh?
I can't remember his name.
So it's really close.
But it's a land conflict. It's basically over a land conflict.
It is. Sir Eustace
Put in the chat. Put Sir Uthor Underleaf. No. Okay, sorry.
Hang on. And it's Rowan Weber of Coldmoat.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's got the spiders. I really like that. And yeah, so it's a land dispute over a river and Watts Woods. So he gets hired to go talk to her, and basically this man lives by himself, and like his sons are all dead, his wife's dead, he's all alone, and he's kind of a sad man, right? This Sir Eustace guy.
Yeah.
But don't know why. All he knows is all his sons died fighting for the king, and he assumes it was the right king, a Targaryen king.
So the Blackfire Rebellion. So that's like a big question in this. Is like which side did they fight for? It's always the blacks or the greens, or
blacks or the red. Wrong.
But it's just a big question. Is they always want to know if you fought for the Blackfires or for the Targaryens. So it's like a common thing throughout this entire second book, I think.
Yeah, whether or not, and
they don't like blood
traitors. You're looked at as traitors, and so Duck gets sent to go and talk to this Weber chick, and turns out she kind of reminds me a lot of Arya, actually, because she's just this tiny little chick, and I swear I think it's old man. I do.
She's been married like 4 times or something like that.
Yep, she's had and
she's young,
right? And they talk about her like killing her husbands and all this stuff because of it. They all think that she's doing it on purpose, but it's just bad luck, basically. Like from war they died, or from just sickness, or old age, or just bad luck, and so he goes there, and she's got this long red braid, and she's always it hangs down, and it's in her lap, and she's always playing with it, and it drives him nuts. And this is like the only girl that he's thought about since his little puppet girl, right? Since Tansel Tootal. So he ends up because she says, you know what? Here, read this. It's my land. I can prove it. And he can't read, and he's like, oh, I can't make out a word or so, And he has, he's like, Egg, can you help me make out this word? And so then later they discuss it, and it's like, it belongs to her. It's king certified. He knew that he recognized the seal as king seal, and turns out that Sir Eustace was actually a traitor. He was a Blackfire, and he lost all this land and everything. And once his male heirs died, then he lost all of it back to the crown. So she wants the brown guy, Sir Bennett of the Brown Shield. She wants him because he cut one of her men in the face. And, she wants a blood prize for it, right? Wasn't that pretty cool over those, Stacey?
I'm laughing because I know what happens is Dunk just gets in the middle of all of this. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. He was like the middleman.
I know. It's like he's just like, man,
I don't even know what I do too.
He is though, like, okay, he is. He's just like, I just think of him like Eeyore sometimes, walking around just like, man, just back and forth, like, can't we all just get along and just stop this nonsense? Because they just keep sending them back and forth with like, no, I don't want to do this. Nope, I want that. Nope, this.
They don't want. So the thing is, like, they don't really. Okay, the guy doesn't really want to talk to her for whatever reason. I can't remember what the reason was, but he just feels like, you know what? If I sent somebody else to do it, I'd react a little better. Yeah.
When they see each other, it reminds of the son, Adam.
Oh, Adam. Oh.
Him off to, and she has never forgiven him for it.
Yeah.
For fact, she made down kneel before her and slapped the shit out of him.
Yeah.
For even bringing it up. And then that's when she demanded the blood prize.
Yeah.
And said, yeah, you bring brown drawers over and then we'll talk about it. And so how did you feel, Stacey, about this whole story? And go ahead and wrap up the story for us and we'll move on to
I mean, there's the entire book is basically this land dispute, right? And Dunk gets stuck in the middle, basically, trying to figure out what's going on. And what I like about it is how Egg kind of explains a lot of this backstory to Dunk. So if you don't know what's going on, or if you don't really know much about the Blackfire Rebellion or anything like that, the Targaryen history, Egg brings it all together and explains, hey, look, there's been these things going on, and now because of who he sided with, this land was given to her instead, and she has the right to put up this dam because it's hers. And he's very smart for I think he's supposed to be like 10 years old in this one, and something like that, not 8 or 9 anymore, but like it's a year and something later. And basically, this is where he kind of squashes the situation at the end. It's kind of, to me, a little anticlimactic. I don't know, but it's still funny what he kind of gets himself into, and he doesn't realize he's getting himself into this crap until he's getting slapped on the ground and by this woman. It's pretty funny. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's definitely something that goes on between them. And
I mean,
like some chemistry going on, you know what I mean? And
well, she was flirting with him. This is the cougar that I was talking about, right? So
she what?
She was the cougar I was talking about earlier.
Oh yeah. That cheeky lion is what it is. But see, at the end of the day, the dispute got settled by them getting married.
Yeah.
Good news is he was really old, and at the end of the day, she ends up marrying Jason Lannister later on and having sons. One of them.
Back up. She ends up marrying which Lannister?
Jason Lannister.
Jason Lannister. That's a new one.
Okay. And she does have a bastard son with him.
It's in the Lannister lineage in the World of Ice and Fire.
And her whereabouts are unknown.
And if you look up witches on the wiki, Westeros.org, she's listed as having some sort of abilities. Just saying.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. And
What kind of abilities?
Well,
I mean,
okay, I want to say this too. Spiders are on her sigil, right? Spiders are associated with well, there's different ways of saying it. So but Hecate or Hecate, or depending on how you say it. And she is basically the goddess of magic, and she is often represented as half woman, half spider. And so spiders are often kind of like little blessings from her. So it's kind of interesting that spiders are associated with her. So I can see magic being associated with her easily.
Yeah. Black magic.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. You
Because
mentioned
this is like from Greek mythology and everything, you know. This is like a Greek goddess, you know, way back when, you know.
Yeah.
So they end up kissing, whatever, and you know, he walks away with a piece of her hair, and he's smiling about it and everything. But he was just kind of like, you know, I don't know. He was kind of like a little naive to, you know, to her coming on and stuff like that. So, because again, he's still young. He's like maybe 19, 20 in this particular book. It's
yeah, I don't even think he's that old. I think he's probably about 18 or 19 at this point. Yeah. He's still pretty young. And and so, but their goal, what they're doing now, is they're actually on their way to Winterfell.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay.
So, yep, the road to Winterfell, and we do know.
But they don't make it. They don't make it right away.
See, this is kind of like how we all wish that if we had the adventures of Arya and the Hound. This is like our adventures of Arya and the Hound, but it's Dunk and Egg, and it's a little different, you know, because
why are they headed to Winterfell though? What's in Winterfell? Why Winterfell?
It's just they want to somewhere they want to go. They've heard that they need help up there fighting they've never been there. It's somewhere different to go, and they heard that they need help fighting up there. It's either because they go where they can find work. Okay, that's what hedge knights do.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we can either go fight for the Ironborn, and they chose Winterfell. So this is like kind of their road to Winterfell now, like a Stewie and Brian adventure on Family Guy. Yeah, okay, I watched this. Sorry. So speaking of which, let's go on to and
they ended up going to another tournament.
Yes, let's go on to the next book, which is The Mystery Knight. This is my absolute favorite of all of them. So, okay, so let's do this. All right, Stacey, I want to let you start. Go ahead. First of all, what do you think?
So this one, I'm for some reason, being the third one, I'm a little bit hazy on it, except for the tournament. So that's the only thing that really stood out to me. So and it really wasn't all that big. It wasn't as I don't know. It wasn't as interesting as the Ashford tournament to me. He basically they're trying to go north, and they come across these, you know, these other guys, and I think they're also hedge knights, if I remember correctly, or at least one of them is, or someone identifies themselves as a hedge knight, and they're like, hey, we're going to be going to this tournament, you should come. He basically gets invited, and you know, it becomes it becomes a thing like, oh, you know, how do I get myself, you know, into these situations? Because he gets himself into these situations that he does not want to be in, and he ends up just kind of rolling with it.
That's the way he rolls.
Now,
Yeah,
and this tournament too, let's say real quick, just to kind of,
Whitehall.
yeah, which was Lord Butterwell. That's whose castle it was, and it no longer exists. So you can't find it on a map. I kind of got a theory that it's salt pans, though. I want to say that. Just because of how the book ends, but we'll get to that later. But Cammy, so you know, I'm trying to give you an idea where it is. It's in the Riverlands, is where this place is at. Okay.
Up by the Trident.
Yep, up by the Trident. Okay, and it's a wedding. Is what they're having the
It's a free.
Yeah, it's a tourney for a wedding. And yeah, it's Lord Butterwell is marrying a Frey daughter, and it's actually Walder Frey's sister. And we have a 4-year-old Walder Frey in this. And yeah, and there's actually a prize at this tourney, which is a dragon egg that Lord Butterwell got from Aegon the Fourth, which was the man-whore one that had all the Blackfire babies, like Bloodraven.
Yeah.
Right, all of them. Bitterstill, all of them. And he actually gave them it that way he could bang all his daughters. It was like, yeah, thanks for pimping out his daughters. Here's a dragon egg. And that makes you wonder how many like are out there just for, because he was really big whore, like for real. Aegon the Fourth was. So how many dragon eggs are just passed out around there?
I think it was like 9 mistresses.
Yeah.
9 mistresses and his wife or wife.
Right. And that ain't counting who he banged just along the way. And
yeah.
And this is the one where you had your Sir Uther Underleaf, by the way.
Huh.
Okay, so and the where she was talking about the hedge knight that invites her, that invited Dunk, it was Sir John the Fiddler.
Yeah.
You need to remember him because he's important.
Sir John the Fiddler?
Sir John
I was
the Fiddler.
wondering what it meant by I'm Team Fiddler. I was like, well, who's Fiddler? So
yep.
Sir the Fiddler?
Yep, he is our mystery knight.
Well, why is he called Sir John the Fiddler? What is a fiddler?
That's just like a fiddle. Like,
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he's described as having dark hair and dark eyes, basically.
And you say he's an important character?
Yeah. And he's very friendly and approachable and a likable guy, and he's very nice to Dunk. And he's like, well, sure, of course we could use him. Now he's traveling with Gorman Peak of Starpike, who no longer has any castles. At one point he had 3, but he is known. Yep.
Yeah.
Because of the 3 fire rebellions. And he's also with Alan Cotchall, who was actually, we'll get to him anyways, but yeah, that's just who he's traveling with. He's just another knight, let's just say, another rich lord guy that's going along. And they're like, hey, why don't you go to this wedding, to this tourney? You know, we're on our way there.
And it turns out that it's another situation.
Okay,
it's another situation where Dunk doesn't have everything that he needs, or, you know, like he has trouble. If I remember correctly, he has trouble in the beginning of this tournament too, because he has to change his name too. Wasn't he the Gallows Knight? Right?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, but you're before there. We need to talk about before. On his way there, They stop at an inn that once hung out over the river. This inn is important too, because I'm telling you, this is the inn at the crossroads. It's just been around forever.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, it just used to hang out over water, and it talks about there's a ferry there, so they're waiting on the ferry to go across, but they have to wait on all these lords and their knights and their retainers and everybody else. So it ends up being like another day or two before they go. So they actually, because there's no room at the inn.
Oh yeah, they get drunk.
Yeah, they all go hang out with some other hedge knights that happen
Right.
to be in the woods, right? And they happen to be by some stumps. Did you notice that? I thought of High Heart with it. Just where they were hanging out at. I thought about High Heart. Not that it was necessarily at High Heart, but it just seemed familiar of High Heart, like another place where they had.
Or they were nearby, because High Heart's in the area.
Well, they were definitely in the High Heart area, and it very well could have been High Heart. But if it wasn't, I definitely think it was werewolves that were chopped down. And we meet Sir Maynard Plum, Sir Kyle the Cat of Misty Moor, Sir Glendon Ball, which is a very famous descendant, or claims to be. But his mother was a whore from Old Town, I believe. And he's cool with them all, you know, they all hang out and they get drunk, like she said, and all that. But he befriends all of these guys. Okay, now we're getting to where we're at the tourney now. And this is where we start to, you know, Duncan does go, and he enters as a mystery knight. He enters as the Knight of the Gallows, yeah. Instead of going by his name, which was kind of a good thing for him to do, considering later on. We meet Tom.
Also because it was kind of a notorious thing, you know, what happened with the Ashford tourney and the trial by 7. So I think he didn't really just want to use his name just in case someone recognized it. I think that's the vibe I got.
No, that was the vibe I got too. I think he was still like, and I think it even said something like that. He didn't want them to remember him and be known as that guy, and you know.
And especially the guy, the reason that the next in line for king died, you know, to be that guy.
Right. I want to bring up really quick Sir Maynard Plum wearing the moonstone brooch, and Plum being his last name for all you other book readers, and him wearing purple just for later mental notes.
Hi, Brandwick.
Hello, Sugar Brand. Good morning, sunshine. Now then, so we have Dunk entered as a mystery knight, and he does lose Uther Underleaf the first time, and he actually learns, you know, this, like, he's been around the block for a minute, you know, he's kind of like an old school hedge knight.
An OG hedge knight.
He really was, man. He was an OG. And he was kind of cool. And I thought, you know, I liked him. He was straight up with him about, he told him, look, I'm betting on this stuff. This is how I make money. You know, you want to bet on, you know, place a bet. He kind of gave me a little finger vibe. But honestly, in a more honest, upfront way. Like where Littlefinger deals in like pose, he deals in numbers. Like he's the number runner guy.
Huh.
Is that kind of what you was thinking about with him too?
I didn't give him much thought.
You did.
Sure. I really didn't. Like I said, like this is This one kind of goes in and out for me.
This is who Dunk loses his stuff to, and who he needs to retrieve his stuff from later.
Yeah.
Okay. That way I'll help you remember a little bit. Okay. So, wow. By the way, Cammy, Walder Frey, 4-year-old Walder Frey is a little shit in this too. And there's even a time where Dunk himself thinks about pushing him down a well.
Oh, I wish he had a. Damn.
And don't we all? We all were like, "Ooh, if only." And yeah, it was just a moment. Now, the real reason that this wedding took place too was because it was all a cover-up.
Wow.
Now, the cover-up was because it was a place for a bunch of Blackfire conspirators to meet to set up to conspire for a second rebellion. Lord Ambrose had a son-in-law named Tom Heddle that was
Moni.
Thing, like, I mean, just, and not just him, a lot of people. Well, they kind of like, and Doc kept thinking, I'm going to go through Ashford all over again. I can see it happening. And he kept thinking that a lot, especially because of the Tom Heddle, right? Well, it turned out that no, it wasn't him that was the target this time. It was actually Sir Gwendon Ball, because they were calling him, making fun of him the whole time, calling him Knight of the Pussy Willows, because his
and he got pissed off. Oh no, that was the flowers, the Knight of the Flowers or whatever.
Knight of the Pussy Willows, yeah, because because he couldn't because he didn't have the red hair like his father, and they're like, yeah, he brought his knighthood with his sister's maiden head and all this other stuff, and they just like to mess with him. Duck actually befriended him, and he will be joining him on his journey in the next book when we finally get it. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be fun. But Quentin Ball, which is his father, was really badass, actually. He was master of arms for a while before the Blackfire Rebellion thing, and he's actually the one that taught Daemon Targaryen to use Blackfire and trained him. And Daemon Blackfire was awesome. He was really awesome. So, well, okay, so we were talking about that there was a prize for this dragon egg. Well, they had set it up where the dragon egg got stolen. Oh my, it vanished. Well, they set up Sir Gwendon Ball and magically found it in his horse's satchel, right? And Dunk knew he was innocent. Everybody really knew he was innocent because he had been down on the field all day, whooping everybody in the thing because he was about to win it. He was literally about to win it. Well, about that time, they beat him up pretty bad, took off his fingernails. I mean, they roughed him up really bad.
Oh God, took off his fingernails. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, they was.
That makes sense to frame the guy that you don't want to win.
Yeah,
because he could be bought. They were buying everybody off in the tournament to make sure that our dear Sir John the Fiddler actually won. Yeah, because he did not possess the sword Blackfire, and they wanted him to win to gain the support. This would be Lord Gorman Peak. You know, the other Blackfire supporters. And Lord Butterwell was just basically a patsy and a pushover and swung both ways. For fact, during the first Blackfire Rebellion, he had a son on both sides, Targaryen and Blackfire, just that way he could play both sides, you know? Because he's just, you know, he was just a little bitch like that. Now, then whenever it come down to it, and then finally Daemon's, now Duck calls him out. Dunk's like, you're full of shit. You're Damon Blackfire in front of everybody. And demands that they bring out, you know, that they bring out, I just said his name, Sir Glendon Ball, and that he's innocent and that he was set up and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, he calls bullshit. He calls them out. It's like they're having a feast or something, and he calls them out. And he's like, he's still trying to get Duncan to join him because he told him when he got too drunk on the roof that he had a vision or had a dream about him, and he seen them all in white. So he had a dream about him being a king's guard. So we know about them dragon dreams. So that one's been foretold now too, but we already knew that that's gonna happen. So that wasn't nothing really new. And there was a dragon that was supposed to hatch at White Walls too. That was something else that was supposed to happen. And he thought it was him. Well, he got outed there, and then he said, okay, prove your innocence to the poor tortured man. And they went up against he went up and he finally washed out his hair, revealed his hair. Dunk thought, that's kind of what Egg would look like, you know. And you know, if he grew his hair out, because Egg keeps his head shaved so he's not recognized.
Right.
But he keeps his ring in his boot hidden in case of emergency. Like a old shit handle sort of thing, you know? And he actually did use it on Lord Butterfield. Or Lord Butterwell. I call him Lord Butterfield. Man, it's like, because the whole castle's like white, like solid white stone, and it just is like cows. It makes me think of milk. And yeah, so just don't even get me started on him. I work at a dairy too, so yeah, don't even get me started on him. So this whole time, Egg's been missing, and like Dunk's freaking out. He thinks Tom Heddle's done took him or something, and he calls Damon out. Damon Blackfire's revealed. Says they go out for their trial by combat. And Stacey, you want to tell us about the trial by combat? Do you remember what happened there?
Sorry, I really am fuzzy.
Okay, I got you.
I remember when Dunk. I remember when Dunk came too, because there's just like so much going on.
Okay, I got you. So yeah, like I said, this is my favorite one. So okay. So basically what happened was they went out there to joust, and even as messed up as he was and with no fingernails, and he remembered what he learned from the tourney at Ashford from Baylor Breakspear, and that was to not use the 8-foot war lance, but to use a 12-foot tourney lance.
Yep, that's right.
He said, he'll never touch you. Don't worry about it.
Because that's what the King's Guard used, were the short ones.
Right, the war lances that are 8 feet. And Baylor Breakspear said, nope, we're going to use the 12-foot turning ones, and they'll never hit us. And that's what they did at Ashford. And so that's what he did. And he knocked him off his ass and in the mud. And then they started laughing at him, the whole crowd, and said, the brown dragon, ha 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 ha. And yeah, and so that proved him innocence by all rights, as far as the gods were concerned, with the trial by combat, I guess you could say, in the eyes of Game of Thrones world. But it was kind of funny because at about that time, that's when you start hearing horns, and there's a huge army surrounding White Walls. And guess who it is? It's Lord Bloodraven. But not just Lord Bloodraven. We have Mad Donnell from Harrenhal. We have Blackwoods. We have Oh my God, we had Rosby's, we have Stewart's, we have people from King's Landing, we have the Ravenseath, which was Blood Raven's personal army. We had like just all these badasses from the Riverlands and the Crownlands, and it just all like it was just this huge army surrounding, and it was like, all right, bring it on. And Damon trying to rouse everybody, and everybody was like trying to sneak out or find a corner to hide in, or just get the hell up out there. And so he charged out there on his own. And that pretty much ended the second Blackfire Rebellion right there. So they finally found Dunk after a while. That's when he came to. Yep.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, Lord Bloodraven's been looking for you for a while. And they were, my camera ain't even on. Sorry, I was clicked on the other thing. And they were like, okay. And so they took him back and to Bloodraven's tent. And that's when we find out too that, you know, he talks to Bloodraven for a few minutes. And he's like, kind of like, what were you doing here? Now, but this is kind of where we also get the clue that Bloodraven was there the whole time with the whole Maynard Plum theory, you know? And if you look at Maynard Plum throughout the book, did you notice that, Stacey?
I didn't catch on to that, but like I said, I wasn't looking that deep. I was just kind of reading through and trying to catch what I could.
Go do a reread or on your next reread of it, because you know why? Because we're doing some other stuff.
Yep, I know.
Yeah, I'm doing my little wink at you. And you will see that there's a lot of it's disguise. He does have spies among them, but that's definitely Bloodraven. Like, I would bet money on it. I'd bet whatever on it. That is definitely, Sir Maynard Plum is definitely Bloodraven. And the purple and the moonstone are big clues to it. Not only that, but just how he talks and how he helps. And we all also was present for that, and he did warn Dunk then, remember?
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and even then, when he first was visible on eye, and it's just little hints and clues throughout, and especially with how he talks and stuff, it's very Bloodraven-y. Yeah, I get really into Bloodraven. Like, really.
I'm gonna have to go back through and just kind of pick up on that, because it didn't click, you know.
Do it, definitely do it. I'm telling you. Yeah, because if you go back and just pay attention, like I said, just to him, how he talks and things going on around him, and if you just look at him and think of him as being Bloodraven, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know, I see it totally. And it makes it more humorous, actually, because it's like a big joke, you know, because he's sitting right there, like they're sitting there talking about him and like talking smack about him, and then toasting them and stuff because they're scared of them, you know, and they know there's spies everywhere, and just how everybody acts, and then how things turn out, you know. It's like he's sitting there watching everything the whole time in front of them all, and just like it's humorous to him. And like even when Dunk gets drunk and then wanders back later on, he's like, oh, there you are, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he knows it's Bloodraven, I'm telling you.
Dunk,
Yeah.
A thousand eyes in one. And I'm telling you, Dunk and Egg are part of, they're on their journey, and they are his eyes too.
I'm familiar with that phrase, 1,000 eyes in one, but I'm not completely familiar with what it means exactly.
It's an old run that goes with Bloodraven, and we actually first hear it from Dunk and Egg, and actually from Dunk. And it's
like a song. They say it's like a song or like a riddle.
Right. Yeah. How many eyes does Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes in one.
Yeah.
Huh.
In other words, no matter where you're at, what you're doing, he's going to see you and he's going to know about it. You can't hide nothing from him.
But
Wow.
it also refers to the fact that he's got one eye. So that's how they get the one.
Yeah.
Kind of like a jape. It's like a little, kind of like a poke at him. Like, he's got 1,000 eyes all over the place, but one.
Yeah, and that one eye, yeah.
Wow.
His one red eye.
Yeah, I love Bud Raven.
Yeah.
But, and then it's revealed that where he's been looking for Egg this whole time, that Egg actually went to Lord Butterwell, and he was the egg that actually hatched. And he blossomed, and he really became a prince, and he really became a dragon in this book. And he had old Butterwell like quivering in his pants, didn't he? And they were in the sept. For a fact, Tom Heddle came in there and tried to do a standoff in the sept, and he was like with Dunk, and he was like, I'll have none of it. And that was his son-in-law. And he said most of it he did was because he was scared of him. Black Tom Heddle. I think that was a nice nod to comics, by the way.
So
y'all know who I'm talking about.
So after that, I mean, I don't feel that there was, nothing else. But I think that in the future we're gonna hear that Dunk and Egg made it north, right? I think we're gonna get that because they stopped after this book. There's only 3 books, so kind of I guess the thing to do is to guess where they're gonna go next, and where their adventures will take them. And I feel like Winterfell is still, high on that list. So
definitely. And we know that he's doing the She-Wolves of Winterfell.
Yeah.
And that is going to be one of the books. So I think he's going to be prominent in that book, actually.
Yeah.
Because that just fits perfect. I mean, he would be perfect. I mean, if there was women, and you think about it, if they're all fighting the Ironborn too, and they're left to rule or die, and the way it's set up, of course, he'd be great to help out there and whatever's gonna happen,
Yeah, with the Greyjoy rebellion and all that.
Oh no, I'm just saying with other stuff, whatever could happen while he's there. Little babies. I'm telling you, it's because all them women are sweating Dunk in the books because it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know how to compare them.
Huh.
I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, don't ask me.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I guess it's like if Loris looked like the mountain was or something. I don't know. I'm gonna start thinking of him like The Rock. How about that? And from now on, in the head, The Rock is my Dunk.
So I'm kind of surprised in all of this. I'm kind of surprised how much I remembered from the first, and how, as I started going through, I remembered less and less. And I think it was because there was just a lot of information, just kind of, that I was trying to take in a short period of time. So Cammy, if you've got a month, take that month and really like go through it.
Yep.
I had a week and I did a rush job, but I feel like I did okay.
You sure did.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed.
I just, like, by the time I got to the 3rd book, my memory is just like almost at failure. So I kind of realized it today. So I promise I won't disappoint next time, though.
Definitely go back over the 3rd book.
I'll never disappoint.
I promise.
And well, I know her too, and I know what she likes getting into, and I do think she is going to. I do. I really think she's going to. And I want to say too, let's finish off this part. They did end up tearing down white walls, and they salted the fields so that Butterwell lost his castle, and White Walls was torn down, and the fields were salted. So that's why I think it's salt pans, and by where its location's at. Because if you look at the maps too, if you're a map person, there is no location of ruins anywhere. But if you look at the description of where it's at and the road to get there and everything, it fits exactly to where Salt Pans is at. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Check it out. Okay. And Cammy, yep, your 1 month challenge, April 23rd.
Hey, challenge accepted. Y'all got me inspired. I mean, I'm into this Dunk character already.
Yeah, I'm telling you, love Dunk. Dunk is amazing.
I already do.
Egg is like this little smart ass. Like, you're just gonna love him.
I love him.
Right?
He is.
I already love Dunk.
You know what kind of stood out to me too is something that I should have just glazed over it, but it's something that I remember, is the fact that his hat, he had a horse that wore a hat too.
Yeah, he named him Maester. It was a mule, actually.
I thought it was great. So it was basically like one of Egg's hats, but it had like little holes in the top for the horse's ears. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so funny and so cute.
That one was a mule that he named him Maester.
Yeah.
Because Egg was closest to his brother Aemon.
Yeah.
Who was a Maester, yep. And he's the one that nicknamed him Egg.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah.
Stop, you're breaking my heart again. Stop. We can't.
I know, the different horses and all. I love it.
We can't discuss Aemon without me getting brokenhearted.
Oh yeah, Aemon. Yeah, no, Aemon. Yeah, no, that one's.
Stop.
In the neighborhood.
So, if you guys were to give me a score, and I'd say I'm probably at about maybe a C+.
I would say a B.
For my first read.
Hey, wait a minute. Give yourself a little more credit. I mean,
yeah.
We're new mom here with full-time that works at home full-time, and you had 1 week. I would give you an A+.
Yeah. You're done good. I can't wait to hear her next one, her next read of it. And yeah, we will be like redoing these and going over more stuff with them individually. You know we will.
Yeah. It's because I have to.
Yeah,
we had a revelation. It has to do with my further research, so I had.
Yeah. No, there's going to be a lot of this stuff too popping up in upcoming Blackwood stream, and that will be very soon. Very soon.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome, you guys. Like, we're going to blow your minds with some Blackwood stuff.
I can't promise that I can crunch the rest of it in a week, but it might be a little further out for me. Yeah.
That Blackwood stuff is another thing I know nothing about, but I've heard all about it. But
it'll be worth waiting for, and it's going to be
Blackwood. I don't know Blackwood is.
I'll tell you right now. It's Bloodraven's family. It's one of
his mother's side.
Yeah,
his mother's
side.
Okay.
It's a family. It's the only family that got exiled from the north by the Starks instead of just exterminated.
Huh.
Oh, Bubba, shame. No.
Bubba, we're gonna die. We're gonna have words, man.
Yeah. You reckon?
But I mean, he's kind of right, because if you talk about the Blackwoods, I mean, they're kind of intermingled with the Blackwoods.
I was about to say they all marry into each other. I don't even know why they're fighting them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like their own little civil war.
It is. It is. It actually reminds me of like the Hatfields and McCoys. It's like the Game of Thrones version of Hatfields and McCoys.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I'm reading what she.
Yes, Lady Olenna. There is a lot of strange magic in House Blackwood. Littlefinger wants to marry.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes, I am all about the magic of House Blackwood, and I have been working on this actually for a very long time. And Stacey's got some other ties into it too. And yeah, this is going to be a nice big collaboration amongst friends. And a nice series. Yeah. Yep. See, Marie knows. Marie's with me on that one.
Chris,
yeah. See, I still read it as Chris thinking, Cammy. And Brand Blackwood. Brandwick. Yep. He'll be with us. Yep. Yeah, Blackwood history is awesome. And there is a lot of magic involved. A lot. Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm excited about it already.
You know what? So, yeah. So talking about this, right? How do we want to address questions on it? Because I think we should probably. I know there's like a million questions out there about Blackwoods anyway, because they're one of the least, not least known, because
we'll talk about that.
Names all over the place, right? But what about them is known is very little until you really start digging. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, what do people really want to know about the Blackwoods?
That is a good question.
What are your burning questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions that you want to know about the Blackwoods, post them in the comments. Post them for us.
That way we feel like we
can answer those.
Yeah, because you girls have been talking about streaming on Blackwood for weeks now, and I'm like,
I don't remember that.
It's been longer than that, actually. It when we first started mentioning them was actually last year when I streamed with Marie and Ree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it would be good for people to revisit that that last video about the Night Queen and the others on Marie's channel, because that's when I started an introduction to where I think their story has been and where it's going. So that was a long time ago. That was last summer.
I wish I could post a link for Marie's channel right now, but I'm not able to. I'm usually link bringer, but I can't when I'm on the panel. But
Marie should do it. Marie, post a link to your channel so that people can go back and watch that video or a set of videos, because they're really good.
You know what? I might be able to. Let me try.
I'll post a playlist on my channel too.
Yeah.
I might be able to.
I think it's a nice little primer, and it'll get people kind of on, kind of thinking about where we're going with this.
In the meantime, before we get to that, me and dear Brandwick will be doing one.
Hey, got it. I could have been doing this.
She figured it out. We'll be doing one on the 7th.
Figure it out sooner or later.
Very soon, isn't that right, Brandwick? And I got one on Verlore coming up too with Carrie. And me and Cammy got something coming, but we're just gonna sling it to you.
Yeah, ours happens.
It's just gonna be on the fly. You'll find out when we do it.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Please come. Please come.
Brandwick, we'll have another call soon. We haven't had a chance. We had one that you missed.
Me and Ree had to
record it. We figured that out.
And I was like, dang, we should have been streaming this. We should have been recording this, because this would have been a good stream, just our conversation. So we decided, yep, we're going to stream on that conversation we had.
Or sort of like that. Yeah. We just need to start recording our conversations more, not just the government doing it. If they can laugh at us, why can't we laugh at ourselves, right?
Yeah. So Marie just posted the link that has the specific part where I start referencing what I think the Blackwoods beginnings might be, and I've departed a little bit from it, and I'd like to, I'd like to revisit that and kind of further clarify my thoughts on it, because I know that I came across more information since then that kind of changed my mind. So you'll get a fresh perspective on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I shall check it out.
We talked about the Blackwoods too in our Werewood stream.
Post that link in my Hangouts box, Marie.
Can someone write down Olena's comment there about Baelish and what he thinks he'll accomplish by mixing his blood with Blackwoods? I mean, we already know the answer to that, but we have to wait.
What Baelish thinks he'll accomplish by mixing his blood with Blackwood blood.
Yeah.
Huh.
Thank you, Lady O. Go enjoy dinner.
Thank you for coming, Lady Olena.
Thanks, friend.
Always a pleasure, my lady.
Cool. All right. Well, I know that I'm gonna revisit these books, and I'll have much more if I come across anything that really kind of sticks out, and if I, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to dive into it, learn a lot more. But I really enjoyed them. I thought they were fun. They were funny. I think they were lighthearted. I just felt like Dunk and Egg were really just like, if we could give an award for awesome duos, I would totally give them an award, because they were just, they played off of each other very well, and their stark contrasts in character. I just love them as a duo.
I do too. I think they're probably two of my favorite characters in the entire world. Like the whole world of all of the characters. Just because I like a lot of their back and forth, It makes them fun to read.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was pretty fun reading. I laughed while I was going along. I was like, really? That is so funny.
All right. Yeah. No, that was great. Okay. Any final thoughts? Anybody?
Does anyone want to give me any homework?
I know. I'm trying to think. No, you got enough with the Blackwood, so you're good. Just go over the last.
And I don't need any more homework.
Take the month, Cammy. Trust me on this. Take the month.
I know. I will.
Take it forth.
I trust you. I trust you.
And Cammy, you have the challenge.
I sure do. It's the funnest challenge of my life.
And you know what? I think you really will like them. And they are short. You can handle it. You'll be like, oh, okay, I could have done these easy and not affected you, but it won't affect you with the show at all. And for a fact, in the show, I kind of think of Brienne and Pod a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're most not so much the Hound and Arya, even though they were, kind of a cute couple thing, but Brienne and Podrick, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more like it is. It's more like them. It's kind of the back and forth smart assness. The way Arya was, is what reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys want to go ahead and say goodbye, then we'll wrap it up.
Can I?
Yeah.
It's the most this is what I know the most of. So
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it, girl.
I'm trying to remember the people that came in, all the people that came in, but thank you, Moni. Thank you, Branwick. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Lady O. Thank you, Marie. Marie always has so much. Marie knows. And so does Bubba Husky. Thank you, Bubba. Thank you, Carrie. Oh, Carrie. I know LMR was in here earlier. Thank you, LMR. Thank you, Kevin, Bridge 4. Thank you. Cindy Sammy came in. Thank you, Cindy. Who else came in? There was two Catherines that came in. Thank you, both of you, Catherines. And thank you, AU Pat. Oh, hey, AU. Hi, John.
You.
Hi, John.
Thank you. We figured it out.
Let me post his link real quick. Oh gosh, I hope I can find it.
You got your
call.
Is anybody? Ree, your turn.
Okay, did you say Lady Olena?
I sure did.
Bubba Husky?
I sure
Connie.
did.
Yeah, Connie O. Marie.
Moni.
Did.
Yep, she's
going way back, guys.
We'll say Moni again.
Yeah,
Moni.
Peter Griffin.
Milt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Milt. He came in earlier.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Milty. Yeah, I seen him in there too. Yep. We're looking at it at the same time, aren't we?
I'm just scrolling way back.
That's what I was doing. I was scrolling, reading. Connie. I love Connie to death. Fandom D Saint. It's always fun with you. I'm telling you, every time I see it on the screen, I'm going.
Carrie McDonald.
Yeah, Carrie Berry. Yeah, and Carrie Bear. We had 2 Carries today.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, Carrie McDonald.
Top
yeah.
shelf.
Yeah.
Top shelf.
Yes, Justin Thomas. Check him out if you do not subscribe already. I'm telling you.
Yes. Whose channel did you just say?
Justin Thomas, Top Shelf Fandom.
Justin Thomas, yeah, sub to him, y'all, and AU Pack Mule.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. AU's been doing some really cool ones. He's been doing 30 days of streams.
Yes,
a lot of cool people on there. Yeah.
And I think AU has 1,400 subs or something like that now. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Deserved. Well deserved.
Yes.
And and Justin Thomas, he works really hard. So
I like that, Marie Pod.
All you channel hosts work hard, and
I don't have one still.
You need one, Stacey May. You need one.
Yes. Not happening. No, I don't. I can't maintain it, you guys. I like getting on here and jumping in when I can, but I just can't do my own.
She's like, I just make guest appearances.
Yeah. I don't mind like hanging out and joining in the conversations, but to get in and make my own videos, it's too much.
See, yeah, I don't even care about doing all that, but I like to start my own conversations too.
I appreciate the vote of confidence, Marie, but seriously, I can't. But I love joining you guys.
And I love having you. I love it so much whenever Stacey says, "Hey, I want to stream about something." It's always exciting. So if you ever see your name, then you know it's going to be good. And with that, guys, everyone have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you at the next one, which will be in a few days.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.